Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, boom a zoo. Rock chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and I am coming off of my hiatus. I took a little break to kind of go through the Christmas season, really spend time with family, step away from YouTube for a few days, but I am motivated and excited to get back into providing videos for you all. And this one, I think, is just kind of a home run, if you know where I'm going with this, because I really think that there not isn't necessarily a chance this could happen, but I think the idea keeps coming up. Now, the Kansas City Royals, we know, ladies and gentlemen, have made a ton of moves already in the offseason. They've been linked to a ton of trade rumors in this offseason. And we know that we've gone through a stretch of time where we've really been linked to guys like Jarren Duran. We've seen times where we're linked to Brendan Donovan in trades. But when it comes to the free agent market, we often know and understand that the bigger markets typically set the tone for a lot of these bigger time name players. A specific player we're going to be talking about is Bo Bichette from the former Blue Jays. And I'm really excited to talk about this and really dive in because I keep seeing his name linked to the Kansas City Royals. We know very early on in the offseason, literally probably a few days, if not a few weeks, right after the World Series ended, Jeff Passan of ESPN came out with an article really kind of talking about where players could envision where he could see them going. And one of the things that he talked about was Bo Bichette to the Kansas City Royals would be awesome. Now, did he mention in there that he thinks, obviously, that's probably out of their market? Yes. But he talked about how him and Bobby Witt Jr. paired up the middle would be just a sight to see. And I think Bo Bichette being inserted into this lineup would provide you an offensive power bat that we're looking for. But the biggest thing, too, obviously, that we're going to be talking about is what he would cost. And realistically, can a small market like the Kansas City Royals even entertain the idea? So Bo Bichette, the 27-year-old former Toronto Blue Jay at this moment, became a free agent this offseason after a strong 2025 season in which he hit .311 with 18 home runs and 94 RBIs. That even comes after he was missing some time due to an injury. But he would return. He returned in the World Series, came up with an absolute clutch 3-run home run in Game 7 that absolutely just sent the Toronto crowd to a next level. It was that World Series, ladies and gentlemen, was one of the most incredible World Series I've ever seen. And really, Bo Bichette had an important piece, really played an important role in some of that. Now, Toronto did extend him a 1-year qualifying offer of $22 million, which he declined. Obviously, he's looking for a long-term deal. At 27 years old, this is probably a key time for him to sign a decently lengthy contract. So obviously, he's going to decline the $22 million qualifying offer. Now, he has the intent to test the open market. And recently, he came out and said, hey, I would be willing to shift from shortstop over to second base, which the Kansas City Royals, it would be a huge upgrade at that position. We understand Jonathan India came back to the Kansas City Royals on an $8 million deal, and we know that they have guys like Michael Massey and really some platoon players that could fill in that spot if need be. But that would be a massive upgrade to add Bo Bichette to the second base, pair him with Bobby Witt Jr. up the middle. Now, the biggest thing is his defense. And that's why he probably is more open to playing second base. He does have the ability to play shortstop, but I think long-term he will probably be more likely a second baseman. And the advanced metrics really show that his defensive value at shortstop is below average. And again, many people expect him to really shift over to second base long-term. Now, could that impact his market? Potentially. But again, I think when you're talking about a guy who can contribute not only in the on base, not only can he produce in the batting average, he hits home runs, he produces in the RBI category. You're really talking about a guy who's probably going to command a decent contract even at his age. So why he would fit the Kansas City Royals? They really need an established offensive firepower. And the reason we say that is because, yes, They have guys like Salvador Perez. They have guys like Vinny Pasquantino. They have Bobby Witt Jr. They have up-and-coming stars and really a lot of guys that can contribute. Maikel Garcia signs a long-term deal with the Kansas City Royals. Although he's not necessarily your power bat, he does provide you a decent at-bat and really plays solid defense as he took home the Gold Glove at third base. But you got guys also like Jack Caglione, who I would say we kind of know and anticipate what he is going to provide. We just haven't seen the output and really what we expect from Jack Caglione yet, so he's a big question mark. But we know that the power, the production can exist in this lineup. It just really is more needed in the outfield position, as we were probably 28th in a lot of those categories from an outfield production standpoint at the offensive side. So Kansas City is clearly an offseason build, and they're looking to really establish and create a domination inside the AL Central. They're looking to add that impact bat to boost a lineup that shows promise, but really lacks that consistent kind of guy that they need, like a Bo Bichette, to compete with really a lot of the rivals that they have. Recent intent to pursue big moves has been reported, including the Royals having interest in making blockbuster trades. We know they've been tied to, again, Jarren Duran. They've been tied to Brendan Donovan. They really are looking to upgrade. And the reason why I think this is significant too is because they have been linked to a guy like Brendan Donovan, who plays a lot of second base but has the ability to play the outfield. So it would make sense if Bo Bichette were to be somewhat of an interest to the Kansas City Royals. Now, obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is an all-star. He is an absolute superstar. And so he is a production. He is going to provide you a lot of offense. Vinny Pasquantino had a breakout season, hit 30-plus home runs, had over 100 RBIs. Salvador Perez continues to show that he has some left in the tank. So they do have some offensive firepower. They just need to add a little bit more to really sustain some of that stuff. Now, adding someone like Bo Bichette, someone who can rack up hits, get on base, and deliver timely power, could immediately improve this lineup that was ranked pretty low below average in the AL on the offensive club. Now, position flexibility, and I think this is where he provides kind of some upside. If Bichette is open to playing second base, which he came out and said he was, I really think that gives the Royals the role to offer him a regular position in this lineup. And that's obviously, if you're paying him high dollar, long term, you're going to expect him to be in the lineup on a consistent basis. And I really think that's something fans have debated a lot, is how much would he cost? What interest would he have with the Kansas City Royals? So I think there's a lot of things to really kind of think about in that category. Now, with many teams reportedly interested in Bo Bichette, really his services, once again, it feels like we're constantly competing or trying to work with the Boston Red Sox. He has been linked to the Boston Red Sox on a consistent basis. The reason is because they really are interested in Alex Bregman. But Alex Bregman hasn't made a decision. And really, when you look at the end of there's a lot of free agents that have yet to really choose to go play places, which hasn't really cracked open any kind of teams just starting to sign guys. Not one big player outside of Pete Alonso has decided to really do anything. So when the market is kind of at a stalemate, it's hard to really gauge and really make moves. So they're constantly kind of competing with teams, probably throwing offers out there, but just decisions have not been made yet. So again, the Red Sox are one. There's tons of teams. He could potentially go back to the Blue Jays. The market will be very competitive for a guy like Bo Bichette, but the Royals could use their payroll flexibility, offer a scenario that other middle-of-the-pack teams cannot. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. And I think that's the thing too, is the Royals are very young. They have a lot of young guys coming, and they're going to be here for a long time. We know that Bobby Witt Jr. is signed to a long-term deal. We know we just locked up Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino will be probably coming down the line at some point. So you're going to have guys in Kansas City for a long period of time. So Bichette figures to command a premium multi-year deal, potentially north of $20 million per year. For a small market club like the Kansas City Royals, the question becomes, are they willing to make that financial commitment? They've already done it with a guy that they know is proven. We know Bo Bichette can provide a lot of offensive side, but with the decline at shortstop and defensive metrics, shifting over to second base, are you willing to really pay a guy an average salary every year of $20 million, north of $20 million? And are you going to be able to really do that? And what hindrance would that do to the team long term? So some Royals fans really believe the club historically hasn't shown that willingness to really outbid larger markets. And a lot of that too is the fact that it just doesn't fit their payroll. There is a certain amount of money they can afford for guys, and I just can't imagine that the Royals are going to potentially do that. Even if Bichette moves to second base, the Royals would need to clear playing time. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. You're signing a superstar in Bo Bichette. I don't think that would have to be a problem. I think he would know he would plug right in. But the big question is you just signed Jonathan India again to an $8 million deal. And so really, where would he fit into your kind of plan moving forward, including obviously the batting opportunities, his infield ability, but then that starts to become questioning the outfield again. Now, they did go out and sign guys like Lane Thomas. They made some trade and going getting Isaac Collins. So really, they have addressed the outfield position to some degree. It's just not to the level that most Royals fans expect them to do. So that could require, obviously, additional roster churn that really could kind of see how things kind of play out. Now, there are credible reports that Blue Jays want Bichette back, and that the Red Sox have interest as well, which we talked about. These clubs could present compelling competitive offers, both financially and in terms that the team really is competitive. And so I think that that's where it could be a hindrance to the Kansas City Royals. If Kansas City were to sign for Bichette, it would signal, obviously, ambition, a willingness to push beyond the modest offseason moves, and really what we've seen from the Kansas City Royals. I think that would really show the fan base that they're really looking forward to competing for long term. And I even think right now, even if Bichette were not to sign with the Kansas City Royals, we've seen a different vision. We've seen this team kind of be aggressive. We've really seen them upgrade the bullpen. We've seen them, again, address some positions in the outfield. We have not seen them move off of their guys in the starting rotation just yet. So I really think that they are showing that they're wanting to compete not only for 2026, but beyond. But I think, too, that's just the big thing to think about. So the projected contract for Bo Bichette, and I've seen this multiple times, is anywhere from 6 to 7 years. And I think the average annual salary for him would be anywhere from $24 to $26 million. I could see that coming down just a little bit depending on if a guy like Alex Bregman were to sign before him. Although Bregman's more than likely going to play his third base, I still think that kind of sets the market for a guy like Bo Bichette. So 6 to 7 years, average annual salary is anywhere from $22 to $26 million. I think that would put him at anywhere from $168 million to $182 million. To me, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty hefty, and that's really kind of out of the market for a Kansas City Royals organization. It would be phenomenal. It'd be cool to see the Royals go sign Bo Bichette, but is this a realistic option? To me, personally, I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like the Kansas City Royals are going to be able to sign a guy like Bo Bichette. I think there's going to be teams out there, like we mentioned, Boston Red Sox. I mean, even the Yankees could be interested. The bigger market clubs could come in and really make a pretty significant offer to Bo, and I think that there's a chance he just would not consider the Kansas City Royals. I think he probably could see the upside. He could see where the Royals are going. He could see the vision of this team, and they could really sell him on joining the Kansas City Royals. It's just the fact that I don't think they'll be able to muster up the money and really the terms that he is looking for. So I think that's kind of where it's at. Now, shifting gears just a little bit. Obviously, the Kansas City Royals are looking for a new home. They're looking for a place to build the Kansas City Royals' future in a stadium. And so recently, Union Station, of all people, Union Station comes out on Twitter, on X, and posts a long, very long kind of write-up the importance of downtown baseball for Kansas City. They really provide the history and how significant it would be. I just find it super strange that of all people, if you consider it people, the Union Station is the one that's really kind of advocating for downtown baseball. It almost seemed like kind of like cryptic messaging, like they know something's going on and they were just putting out some information. It just seemed kind of strange how it was presented. I do kind of envision the Kansas City Royals potentially staying in Kansas City, Missouri, due to the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are on their way in 2031 over to the Kansas side. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how the Kansas City Royals franchise decides to really kind of put their stadium and where they want to go. There are rumors that they could still potentially come over to the Kansas side. They've been rumored to go out to Leawood, but obviously there's been a lot of pushback on that. So I think that's kind of something to really pay attention to as Royals fans. And we know that the timeline for this is getting into crunch time. And so I'll be interested to see if the Kansas City Royals decide to make an announcement on what their plans are, what they plan on doing, when in the future that's going to be announced. So it's just kind of a thing that I'm paying attention to pretty significantly, and I'm sure most Kansas City Royals fans are paying attention to as well. Now I'm going to wrap up this video. I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Appreciate the support as always. Glad to be back and providing you all videos on the Kansas City Royals as we continue to get through the grind of the offseason. We are about to hit the new year as we get closer to catchers and pitchers reporting to Surprise Arizona. So it'll be exciting to really start to provide information. And I'm sure we'll see this team really shaping up by the time spring training rolls around. So I appreciate all the support. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment down below. And I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.